Today we're going to be doing the hardest of the assignments dealing with completing the square. It's just titled completing the square, but they should probably have like advanced. So what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to fill in this box and this box and this box. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to carefully write g of x. Now my students have already done this, but if you're watching this video, then you need to do it. All right, there we go, just like that. Now, what I'd like to do is I like to change that g of x to just a y. Then I put x squared plus 15x. And everybody knows that's in my class what I'm going to do next. I'm going to put a little, yes, put a little empty space, a little square, all right? Plus 54. But whatever I do to one side, I've got to do to the other side, okay? Now this space is where we're going to put our c value for our square that we're going to complete. Now this is the part where you might need a little bit of a calculator to help you out. So get your calculators ready. I'm going to go and get mine ready. All right, so how do we find the c value? The c value is always the b value divided by 2 squared. That's how we complete the square. So we're going to take this 15 right here. And what are we going to do with that 15? We're going to take half of it, and then we're going to square it, and whatever we get, we're going to put right there. Now, 15 times 15 is 225. So I got to make it really, really tiny. 225 over 2 times 2 is 4. Now, whatever I put on one side, I got to put on the other side. So I'm going to put 225 over 4. Now, some of you like calculators, so you probably would do this. You probably go, all right, 15 divided by 2. You'd press enter, and then you would square it. Take that answer, and you're going to square it. Some of you might like to do it this way. Parentheses, 15 divided by 2, and then you square it, okay? Now, if I hit the math button, press enter twice, this is how I got the 225 over 4. And some of you like to do it an even longer way, which you alpha y equals enter, because you just like to see those fraction bars, and you like it to do it this way, and that makes you super happy. So either way, I mean, we get the same numbers, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down just a little bit to the blackboard here, all right? So I'm going to rewrite what we have. Ready? We have 225 over 4, not equals, plus y equals x squared plus 15x plus 225 over 4 plus 54. Like, that is a lot to think about. It's really not. Because this part right here, we are going to factor. So I want you guys to understand, what's the secret to factoring this is the number at 15, whatever half that number is, watch what we do. We just put open parentheses and we put x plus 15 over 2 squared. What I'm trying to convince you guys is that whatever that number is right there, if we complete the square correctly, whatever is going to be inside this parentheses will always be half of what? It'll always be half the b value before we square it. It'll always be half the b value before we square it. So now we have what? 225 over 4 plus y equals this plus 54. So we have literally one last step. One final step. All we have to do to both sides is simply take away this 225 over 4, which is at 56.25 on both sides. Now, I'm not expecting you to be able to just do that in your head. You can just where you can use your calculator. Just do what? 50, was it 54? 54, take away. I'm just going to grab it right there. See? I just did 54 minus, and I just went up and I grabbed one of our answers. Pressed enter. That's how I did it. All right. Oh. So that's how you can always scroll up and grab whatever you need in your calculator, just so you know. Well, not in your calculator, but in my calculator. If it's a TI-84 plus CE. Now, negative 9 over 4. So guys, here's what we got. Here's our final answer. Ready? Let's change it back to, what was it? G of x, f of x, what was it? G of x? Okay. Here's your final answer, guys. G of x equals parentheses x plus 15 over 2 close parentheses squared minus 9 over 4. And I am going to type that bad boy in. Okay? So I'm gonna go over to my computer real quick because I'm walking around my classroom right now. I'm gonna go over to my computer. I'm gonna carefully type this in. All right. See if we look at it. Oh, it's not working. There we go. Okay. Let me go to. There we go. What number would I put if you didn't see a number there? It's still a 1. So I'm gonna put a 1 right there. Here, do you see how it says it's supposed to be it could be a fraction? All right. So I'm gonna put 15 divided by 2. And here I have to put a negative, was it 9 over 4? Negative 9 over 4. All right. So that's one of the problems. What I need to do, I'm going to pause the video. I got to start this over. All right, guys, problem number 2. So I'm going to you can write this down with me. Okay. Here we go. H of x equals 4x squared minus 36x plus 81. So we're gonna take this, and once again we're gonna fill in this box, we're gonna fill in this box, we're gonna fill in that box. Okay. So write that down, nice and neat. Using the same method, what am I gonna change that to, everybody? Exactly, just y equals 4x squared minus 36x plus, put a little place for your completed square, plus an 81. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So that's the first step. Nice and neat. Now, whenever you guys are completing the square, here's the problem. Right now, the other one was easier. Why? Because we didn't have a 4 in front of it. Let me see if I can go here. Here, what did we have in front of it? We had a what? We had a 1. Here, we have a 4. So what we have to do is we have to factor the 4 out. So I want you guys to understand what our next step is. We're going to take this 4 and we are going to factor it out. Now we're going to leave the 81 right there, leaving the 81. So what is going to go right here? What do you think would have to go right here if I factor out a 4? That's just got to be an x squared. If I factor a 4 out of that negative 36, I have minus 9. And then I have to put the space for me to complete the square right there. But this time I'm putting it inside of a parentheses. So how do you check your work? 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. That's how you can check it to make sure you did it correctly. All right, now this is the part that people are going to, hopefully you guys can see. This right here is still the C value, okay? That's still the C value. And what is the C value always equal to? Half the B value squared. But what is this C value actually being multiplied by? It's being multiplied by what number? A 4. So over here, guys, could you please put, this is not just C, this is 4 times C. Right here, this is the most important part. This is C, but this is 4 times it because that number that we factored out was the number 4. If we factored out a 3, then this would be 3 times C. If we factored out a 10, then that would be 10 times C. It's whatever number you factor out, that's what we're going to have to multiply the C value by. That's the only thing you got to worry about. So what is our B value? It's negative 9. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to take half of it and I'm going to square it. So negative 9 times negative 9 is a positive 81. And 2 times 2 is 4. All right? So I want you to understand how I got the 81 over 4, because a negative times a negative is a positive. All right? So check this out, though. What is this 81 over 4 technically being multiplied by? It's being multiplied by a 4. So this 4 in the denominator is going to be canceled out by this 4. So all I got to put over here is just a regular 81. Okay? Just remember, when we factor stuff out, we have to do what? To check our work, we work through our distributive property to make sure that we got everything balanced on either side. Now, if that didn't make sense, maybe this will, okay? 81 divided by 4, I'm sorry, 4 times 4 is what? 81. Okay, so if you're not sure what I did there, that's what I was trying to explain. So here, let me write down what I have now. Ready? I have an 81. I have plus y equals 4, open parentheses, x squared minus 9x plus 81 over 4 plus an 81. That's what I have. And now all we have to do is take this and do what with it? We need to factor it. Why is this so easily factorable? Because it's just always going to be what? Half that number. So this is going to be x minus 9 over 2. But what am I going to put right here? Squared plus 81 equals 81 plus y. So all I did was do what? Take this and do what with it? I rewrote it for the video, okay? And then I factored it. So does everybody understand that this and this that's been squared, these mean the same thing. This is the exact same expression. It's just been factored. So what's our final and last step, and then we're done? What do you guys think? Yeah, that's it. So right here, our final step is what? Take away 81. Take away 81. Woohoo! That zeroes out. So our final answer is this. Was it g of x? H of x? Okay, so h of x equals a 4, open parentheses, x minus 9 over 2 squared. Now, in the Khan Academy, they have a space over here. I don't see anything, but I got to type in a 0 for that empty space. All right, so this is your actual answer. This is what it looks like when the square has been completed. So what number will I type in right there? A 4. So I'm going to type in a 4. All right there. What number am I going to type in right there? We got to put a negative 9 over 2, right? Negative 9 over 2, because here it says plus, so we got to put a negative 9 over 2. And what number would I have to put in there? 0. Okay? If I do that, I get it right. All right, here we go. This one's going to be a lot faster. By the way, we just did the big bad boy problem. Right now, this is going to be a lot faster. So we're going to go faster on this one. So if you're like, man, you're going way too slow, now we're going to speed things up. Here we go. X squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0. Write it down. Make it quick. Make it snappy. Guys, first step, what do we think? First step, what do we do? That's right, take away 12. Good job. I appreciate that, student. All right, so here's what we have left. Ready? We have x squared plus 7x. Yes, I'm going to put a little empty space right there. That's a negative 12 plus another empty space. That's how you do it. It's super easy. It's not hard. Oh, ooh, this is a c value. This is my other c value. There's my b value. What am I going to do with him? Divide them by 2 and do what? Square it. That's what I do. So now why are we allowed to do this? Because what number is technically in front of this x squared? The number 1. So I don't have to factor anything out. Now if you want to be a smart aleck and say, well, I factored out a 1, then that's fine. So we're going to add what? 49 over 4 and 49 over 4. Okay? Why 49 over 4? Because 7 times 7 is 49 and 2 times 2 is 4. There we go. Now, like I said, I'm going to go over this one a lot faster because it's a lot easier. All I got to do is do what with that? factor that sucker. All right? So how do we factor it? It's just going to be parentheses. X plus, what's the secret? Whatever that number was before you squared it goes right here. That's how easy it is. Now, like, I don't know how to do this. Well, just take your dadgum calculator and just type it in, all right? Negative 12 plus, what did I say? 49 divided by 4. What does it say? 0.25, which is a fourth. So you put a fourth. Khan Academy will take the 0.25 because it's not a repeating decimal. It's a discrete decimal, not a continuous. So guys, this is your answer. Like, what am I going to put right here? 7. I told you that we already did the big bad boy problem. Now we're just doing the easier one, okay? So we're going to put what? 7 over 2 and 1 over 4, all right? I'm going to do one more problem to see if there's any more that's a little bit more tricky. Where we got, I want to do one more. We got to factor something out, and we're done. So here I got to do 7 divided by 2. And here I did what? 1 divided by 4. All right, last one. Okay, guys, last one, everybody. Why is this the last one? Because we have to factor out the 2. I want to make sure you guys know how to factor out a 2. So here we go. This is our last one that we're doing. 2x squared plus 3x minus 2. You never know. When you do these, you might actually get the same problem on yours. All right, you might luck out. That hasn't happened? Oh. Oh well. So see where the f of x is? What am I going to change it to? Yeah, just put y. I'm going to put 2x squared plus 3x plus empty box minus a 2. I realize that's a two-dimensional shape, and I realize it's not an empty actual box, so please don't hate, okay? All right, now, okay, my student said they wanted me to leave it, so all right, here we go. We'll put it right there. We'll make a little empty box, okay? And I'll put a nice little three-dimensional, all right, empty box. There we go, plus y, all right? Oh, there we go. Hold on, minus 2 right there, okay? Now, everybody, we have to do some factoring here. What do we have to factor out of this x squared? What do we have to factor out? A 2. So put 2, open parentheses. You're going to put in x squared. You're like, how in the world am I supposed to factor out a 2 out of a 3? Don't freak out. Just put 3 over 2x and then put another place for your completed square. Basically, what did we do here? We just did what? We just divided everything by a what? Divided everything by a 2. That's how I got the 3 over 2. That's how I factored it out. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, now this is the C value, okay? But that C value over here is not just C. What do you think I'm going to put right here? What do you think? 2C. The other one was 4C because we factored out a 4. This one is 2 times C. You're like, this is really freaking me out. Like, how in the world? If this is my B value, how do I get to my C? It's okay. It's 3 divided by 2. And what do we have to do with that? Divide it by 2. Now, guys, this is really hard to look at. You guys know what I'm saying? That's hard to look at. So I want you guys to think of it differently. Listen, I want you to think of it differently. I want you to take this number, instead of dividing it by 2, I want you to multiply it by a half before you square it. Dividing by 2 and multiplying by a half are the exact same results. So, yeah, dividing by 2 and multiplying by a half are the exact same. So, would you guys agree it's really easy to multiply 3 times 1 and 2 times 2? This is what you're going to have before you square it. So I'm going to highlight this part because that's going to help us with our factoring. All right? So 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16. So could you guys please, in this space, put 9 over 16? Now I'm going to freak you out here just a little bit. That's 9 over 16, and I have to multiply that by 2. 2 goes into 16 a total of 8 times. So this side is actually going to be 9 over 8. Now, if you can't do that in your heads, don't freak out. You can just take 9 over 16 and do what with it? Multiply it by 2. It's like, okay, 9 divided by 16. I know I have to multiply it by what? Multiply it by a 2. I get this number, but I don't want that number. Actually, it's a lot easier for me to write 9 over 8 than it is 1.125, which is 1 1/8. All right? So here, I want you to see why I have a 9 over 8. Okay, so here we go. I have 9 over 8 plus y equals 2 open parentheses x squared plus 3 over 2x plus a 9 over 16 minus 2. Now remember, the secret is, how do I factor this bad boy? There, that helps me. It's whatever that number is before we what? Before we square it, that we're going to put in our parentheses. So here we go. Hopefully you can see this. 9 over 8 plus y equals 2 parentheses x plus 3 over 4 squared minus 2. So you see how what I did there? All I did was take what? Take this and factor it to this right here. So we have literally one last step, and we have a calculator, so it's not going to be hard. What's our final and last step to do? Yeah, just take away that what? 1.125, or take away that 9/8, and we're done. So here's your final answer, guys. I think it was f of x. If it's not, yeah, all right. We got a 2. We've got an x plus 3 over 4 squared minus, so now I got to basically, if I have minus 2 and minus 1 1/8, that gives me negative 3 and 1/8, so that's going to put me at negative 25 over 8, but I'll do the calculator. Negative 2 minus 9 divided by 8, enter, math, enter. There's a negative 25 over 8 that I was telling you about. Okay. Whew. Do you understand you're going to have 2 questions, or maybe 1 question where you have to do what? Factor something out. So I got to carefully type this in. I'm going to type it in. We're going to see we got it correct, so you know that these procedures are the correct procedures of how to do it. The numbers may change, but the procedure or how to do it stays the same. So make sure you write that down nice and neat into your journal. I'm going to go over here. We're going to type it in. Oop, wrong one. What number did I put here? A 2. What number did we put here? Was it 3 over 4? 3 over 4. And then this was a negative 25 over an 8. Okay? All right. So, guys, if you happen to mess up and I'm not able to help you, you can see step-by-step solution. I don't know how they do the same process that I'm doing. Okay? But sometimes it's a lot harder to understand with words than it is watching a video. So hopefully the video is helpful and you guys can conquer this completing the square. Have a good day. Oh, and don't pull a Steve.